Hello, welcome back to an episode of Left Side, Strong Side. I'm your host, Chance Ellison. Smug son of a bitch over there is my co-host, Mike Deacon. He gets to be happy this week. I'm here.
Hey! I'm very, very rarely happy after Sundays, so you got to give me once in a while. Yeah, this is not a common occurrence for me, so I did not expect to have two of them in the first 4 weeks.
I would welcome this if it was against anybody else, but we'll get into all that later. But we are back with Left Side, Strong Side, breaking down all the action of the football season. Again, Chance Ellison, Mike Deacon. And joining us this week to break down all this action, we got a special guest. To me, he's always going to be Babs. You know him as Barbarian. It is Mr. Craig Gaynier. Craig, how you doing, buddy?
Hello, I am doing fantastic. Thank you for having me on. I mean,
of course.
I'd be doing a little more fantastic if Monday Night Football hadn't been such a tire fire, but
yeah,
I'm sure we'll get to that soon.
Well, yeah, I mean, something like what to ask our guests when they pop on is, I'm sure people, in case people don't know, who is your team, Babs?
So I entered this world as a Lions fan, but because being a Lions fan is like being a werewolf, where it's like you're not. It's like a curse that you're like born with. But I felt that one of the few opportunities you have to switch your sports allegiances is when you have moved across the country to a new town or city, as I did. I moved from Michigan to Los Angeles, and a new football team or an existing football team came to the city. And I've been here since, I was here 11 years before they even got back. And, in the interim between when the Rams came back and when the new stadium opened, the Lions became even more of a tire fire than they normally were. They fired their best coach ever, Jim Caldwell, and brought in Matt Patricia. And then they traded my favorite player, Matthew Stafford, to the Rams. So through that all, I have been officially converted to a Rams fan. I have consciously uncoupled from the Lions, and so I've got some long time abuse from the Lions, but I'm feeling better now. I'm feeling, although this year's giving me some Lions flashbacks with the way this offensive line's played.
Oof. Yeah, we'll break all.
We're gonna get there. Yeah.
We'll get there later. But first, we got to get into everything else this year. This week I should say. First, we'll start with Thursday Night Football. We had the Dolphins versus the Bengals. Now, let's start this right here. This is a show where we come in, we talk, we laugh. I make some funny clips over the next few days before we actually start to record. But this is a game that we kind of need to take seriously, just because of something that happened in the second quarter.
Yeah, and it's bigger than the game. What happened? Everything that went down with Tua, just so unfortunate, and it just casts such a shadow not on this game, but the league as a whole with the concussion protocol. It's unfortunate that we're having this conversation right now.
Yeah. So basically, what happened? We talked about that last week. Tua went down in the middle of the second quarter against the Bills. He was having trouble. He was disoriented. He was having trouble standing up. He was looked at. He returned to the game. It was chalked up to being back and ankle injuries. So he was cleared. Sorry, go ahead, said.
And that's what he'd said at the time. Right. He told the doctors, that, and it's, yeah. Sorry, I don't mean to interrupt.
No, by all means.
Yeah, no. He told their medical staff, no, I wasn't. I wasn't disoriented. I just had was having problems because of my ankle, and that's why I fell.
Yeah,
but
but basically, with the concussion protocol is different now, and that they have a third-party mediator who's not affiliated with any team, looking at the player, determining if they're okay to play. Keep in mind, they're already on a short week coming into Thursday Night Football, playing the Bengals. Second quarter, the Dolphins offensive line gave up a sack. And what followed was one of the most horrific things I've seen in football in quite some time.
Yeah.
His fingers was.
Yeah,
that was the most terrifying part.
His hands curdle. It looked like The Exorcist. Like it was. Yeah. It was scary to witness, and the gameplay stopped for a good 5-10 minutes. if not
I think
longer.
it was more. It was more than that because they went through a whole commercial break and still came back, and it was a good 3-4 minutes after that. So you're talking probably real time, upwards of 15 minutes. And for obvious reasons. And poor Tua, just the whole situation around it is just awful. And there definitely needs to be some sort of repercussions here. I don't even know where to start though.
I mean, I believe they already investigated that the protocols that were in place had been for the first game they'd already begun investigating that, but it sounded like had that came back? Did that come back that they followed them to appropriately according to the rules?
They're still being looked at. As of right now, the doctor who did examine Tua after the game, including for this game, he's been fired. He has been released. But yeah, this is also having the NFL reevaluate their concussion protocols as a whole, because Tua never should have been playing at all this game.
Well, and it's one of those things where he, as a competitive athlete, he as somebody on a team, the Dolphins were on a roll, and they were him coming back and playing the rest of that game, they beat the Bills, but I'm sure he had that drive he didn't want to be taken out of the game, but they've got to protect the player against that. It's like you can't allow the player to put themselves in danger. And concussions are difficult things to, so sometimes they're difficult to know you have. I received a concussion from a car accident once, and I didn't realize I was concussed until 15 minutes later. I was smacked my head on the steering wheel. I had a giant mark on that. The cop asked me if I was okay to drive. I said I thought I was. I mean, and again, that's kind of like this. It's like I've got a steering wheel mark on my forehead, and said I don't think I'm concussed. And it kind of mirrors this. It's like at some point you've got to tell the person no. you need to you need to be taken care of. This is for the betterment of yourself. And
I'm not sure if this is a call from Tua or a call from the Dolphins execs, because this is a guy who was already under the microscope this season, just because he was the number 5 pick in his draft. He was looked at to be the future of this franchise. Hadn't quite been producing in the last 2 seasons, so they literally made the offense foolproof for him. And now he's doing well the first couple games, but now he's down for at least a couple weeks. Yeah,
he's already been ruled out. Yeah, he's already been ruled out for week 5.
Yeah,
it's when they rule you out for the week on a Monday. That things are very serious.
Yeah. So, but yeah, that's basically the main talking point of this game. I mean, Bengals played fine. Teddy Bridge, serviceable backup, but let's be real, it's Teddy Bridge. He can only get you so far.
I mean, he is probably the best backup in the game right now, but he also cost them the game. He had that late game interception that sealed the game for the Bengals.
And the Bengals finally, the Jets game woke them up, and this game they came out with a little more urgency, I feel like, than they did week 1 and 2. They're starting to look like the team we expected to see. They're still they had holes on the team the whole time coming into the season, but their offense is finally waking up, and their defense is doing enough that they're looking like the playoff contender that we expected to see.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so we will see how both these teams fare going forward. Up next on the slate is this is the first of one of 2 games. We got London Bowl. Yes, we are trying to broaden the reach of the NFL. So London gets the excellence of Kirk Cousins versus Andy Dalton. Outstanding.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
But it wound up being a fun game.
Yeah. The Saints coming into this game without Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, and Jameis Winston.
Mm-hmm.
But
they did it. But they did have the red rifle.
They did have the red rifle. What about as well as you expect? Justin Jefferson finally came out of whatever coma he's been in for the last couple of weeks. Produced pretty well. Again, this basically feels like kind of like the opposite of what we've seen from the Vikings the last couple of weeks. Their offense has been sluggish up to this point.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I slept through this game. It was at 9:30 a.m. Eastern, 6:30 Pacific, and I had been at a wedding the night before. But what what I saw of this, what I saw of it, it did look like it was pretty entertaining. It's almost like you see a Bizarro World thing though, where it's like the Saints' leading passer is Andy Dalton, and their leading rusher was Latavius Murray, who
what year is it?
Who is currently on the Broncos,
right?
We'll talk about that later, I guess. And the end. What I did see though is that end of the game. They had the chance to tie it, and Will Lutz.
Oh, well, hold on. We actually we got a little clip right here.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So, like you're saying, we're leaning towards the end of the game. Will Lutz had the chance to tie it up, and here's what happened.
Can nail this sucker. Good snap. Good hold. Lutz's kick on the way, and it is off.
All Bears fans cackle in delight at the failure of Will Lutz.
This has been the year of retribution. Like we had the safety, we had the butt punt, and now we have another double doink. So we have the year of retribution for bad plays. So Bears fans were celebrating that one. It was one of the few things they had to celebrate.
One of the very few things they had to celebrate. They couldn't celebrate, or they couldn't celebrate their own team, and we'll talk about why later. But Bears fans, you've been vindicated. You're not the only double doink in recent memory. So enjoy that, and Vikings fans enjoy the win. Although I would be concerned about your long-term aspirations if you played this close against the Saints' backup offense.
I mean, these London games though, they're always kind of wonky like this. Everyone's body clock is not operating on their normal time, and I feel like most years when we see these London games that the outcomes are a little unexpected. Now, of course, people did expect the Vikings to win this, but as you said, not nearly this close with all the backups in. But the one person that was healthy for the Saints was Chris Olave, the rookie beast, and he is
looking great.
Yeah, again, he was my pick for offensive rookie of the year this year, and he's looking like a stud.
Yep.
Especially, and he's really stepping up in that. He's making the plays that he needs to because Michael Thomas is no longer there to help him. So
yeah, exactly. So maybe. I'll say so. Maybe give the Vikings a little bit of credit. They weren't facing just a bunch of complete slops. Andy Dalton had at least somebody who could do something with the ball once he received it.
Yeah, and he did Jarvis Landry, although he did fuck all this game.
And the Vikings are the type of team that are good enough to win close games. The Vikings did not lose this game. They did just enough to win it, and that's the kind of team they're probably going to be a lot of the season. I see a lot of Vikings games probably being pretty tight as the season goes on, and they probably will come out on the better end of a fair chunk of them. They're still in a very weak NFC that if they play just like that and they just don't make mistakes, they'll win more games than they'll lose.
Part of me was hoping to come down to that extra point they missed. It should actually be like classic Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing: as a reformed and a former NFC fan, I do have I would say the opposite of a soft spot, a hard spot for the Vikings, and specifically Kirk Cousins plays for the Vikings. He was a Spartan. I was a Wolverine, so rival school quarterback, and then of course his we'll say suspect views on science.
Yeah.
So he's a tough person for me to root for. It's can't say that I feel bad about him struggling.
All right, now moving forward, we got the title of the episode. Let's just get this game out of the way right now. We got the Jets versus the Steelers.
Oh, dog. Yeah.
So, look, the Steelers' offensive struggles have been noted, but you think you're playing the Jets, and granted, they have a corner who's a stud. I like Sauce Gardner quite a bit. It's the Jets. How can you, Mitch Trubisky? How can you fuck this up? Well, we saw in the first half how exactly you go on to fuck this up. Mitch Trubisky, we're asking once again.
Why the hell can't you do something right?
They after the last game, Tom was like, you know what, we're sticking with Trubisky. Well, halfway through the game, Trubisky's failure to move an inch was no longer tolerated, which means its time has come. Our Lord and Savior.
And here comes Kenny Pickett.
Kenny Pickett enters the game, and he bestows upon the Steeler fandom something that has been elusive to us for the last year. A productive offense. He threw the ball vertically downfield. The kid can move. The offense just looked different when he was on the field. And you know what?
He provided a spark.
And he completed every single pass that he threw. If you count the three that went to the other team. But every single pass that he threw.
Yeah.
Sorry, you want to go ahead?
Oh, I was saying, I'm just looking forward to years of the Pickett-Pickens combo. You know, Pickett to Pickens.
Well, until he runs himself out of town. Until Pickens runs himself out of town.
Yeah.
Hopefully that will come for another couple of years.
I mean, look, you guys didn't run Roethlisberger out of town ever, so you know. No, we didn't. Maybe
our receivers tend to be studs, and then be Pro Bowlers, be All Pros, and then run themselves out of town within 5 to 8 years.
I mean, you can't fix crazy. That's all I got to say. I don't want to not to besmirch or belittle anyone. Specifically,
I will definitely besmirch AB. Fuck that guy. I hate AB.
Who doesn't?
Yeah, he did sexually harass someone in Dubai earlier this year. So, oh my, RG3 had a very a joke in very poor taste about that.
I saw
it. But yes, the point is, the Steelers managed to put up 20 unanswered points. I'm sorry, 13 unanswered points versus the Jets. And you think, oh, we got this game in the bag. Problem is, our defense takes the foot off the gas. We managed to let Zach Wilson drive on us to win the game.
Zach Wilson in the fourth. I don't know what it is with the Jets. Like when we show up, it's just in the fourth quarter. They pretty much they can't start games, but occasionally can finish them.
Yeah. Now,
I mean, Zach Wilson has a lot of swagger in him now, though. You know, we've got the
Zach Wilson, baby, let's go.
Zach Wilson, the Cougar Hunter. You know, he's gotten quite a lot of respect and reputation now from that, and you know he's off to a great start. You know, but also the Jets have two really exciting rookie players in Breece Hall and Garrett Wilson. Of course, Garrett Wilson this game was outshined by
Corey Davis.
Corey Davis. Yeah, I'll say Zach Wilson's favorite target, Corey Davis.
And he was last year too. Like last year, Corey Davis, like completely when he was in the game, Elijah Moore was shut down. And it's going to be interesting to see because Wilson's favorite toys are Barrios and Davis historically. So it's going to be interesting to see how that dynamic goes when you got arguably the two more talented players are the ones he doesn't have the connection with. Yeah. Obviously, going forward, we got to see how that goes. But I was going to say about the Steelers is moving to Pickett is the right move. It might not be the right move for right now, but in the long run, getting him these reps is, looking to next year and beyond. He's, getting the experience he's going to need. Trubisky was nothing more than a stopgap, and he wasn't the best stopgap they could have had. Steelers will have a bright future. There's going to be some pains that Steelers fans haven't experienced in a long time, but it's a better thing for the team as a whole.
Well, yeah, as of right now, Pickett has officially been named the full-time starter. He has officially replaced Mitch Trubisky much earlier than anybody was anticipating this year. Now, people might ask, Chance, is your optimism shrouded because you went to the game, only put about 120 some odd yards and threw 3 picks? My answer to that is no, and I will tell you why. I'm going to throw out some names right here: Peyton Manning, Matthew Stafford, Andrew Luck. What did all these 3 guys have in common? Every single one of them threw 3 picks in their NFL debut. And it worked out pretty well for 2 out of 3 of them. Sorry, Andrew Luck. It's not your fault. It's not your fault.
Oh, he was good when healthy?
He was great. He was great when healthy. Yep. Point is, he's young. It's his first game. He came in at the start of the second half, and he really bolstered up that offense. So I'm not angry at Pickett. I'm really not. and I am excited to see his growth going forward. Next week's going to be the real test for him, but we will get to that when we get there. Up next, talking about enjoy the win, Mike.
It might be the last one.
As a Jets fan,
we play the Bears later this year, so I think we might get 3.
You very rarely get to feel joy. It's just I'm not happy how it happened, but I'm happy.
I mean, look, as someone who has some money on the season-long under for the Cleveland Browns, I'm very happy for the Jets this season.
What's the runner on that?
Well, when I got in before they in between the first suspension and before the appeal, so it was 8.5. So I got under 8.5.
Nice bet.
Yeah, and them losing to the Jets. Oh my God!
And the Falcons
so much.
We'll get
to the next one later. Yeah.
Let's get into it right now because look, there was a lot of candidates for this category this week. Upset of the week, but ultimately, we were split. One said this game, another said a different game. Ultimately, we landed on. I was the tiebreaker, but we landed on the Browns versus the Falcons. The Falcons, who. Watching this game made me realize, like, the Falcons are a team of, like, nobodies.
Yeah.
They're so scrappy. You know, I saw them in person at the SoFi Stadium a couple weeks back, and, you know, we were on the verge of having a three-score lead in the fourth quarter, and they had no quit in them. They managed to, you know, put it within a score, you know, so it feels like every game they have no quit. They this game, of course, they didn't even need to quit because they
handled it.
They handled it pretty well.
Yeah. But my point is this is a team full of nobodies. How do I know that? Their leading receiver was Olamide Zaccheaus. Who the fuck is that?
I think he had like one game last year where they were down like their top 3 receivers, and he made a handful of receptions. But up until this year, you know, obviously teams are going to start doubling on London because he did have a couple of good games to start. So you're going to see stat lines from the Falcons, I think, that are going to be very similar to this. Like who? Tyler Algier now is going to be in line to be their starting running back. So they're going to, because of the Patterson injury, and he's on IR, so he's out for at least 4 weeks. So it's going to be interesting. Again, you're going to see stat lines like who, aside from Kyle Pitts at this point.
Kyle Pitts, a guy who continually fails to put up stat lines. I mean, this guy got 1 reception for a grand total of 25 yards.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what happened to him.
It was first quarter too. I think it was like early in the game he got that, and then he was just done.
He's like using it on fact the rest of the game.
Yeah,
I mean, I think they've been using him to block a lot more than he had in the past. And this, you know, when you've got a lesser quarterback, not to besmirch Marcus Mariota's name, but you know, when you're downgrading from Matt Ryan to Marcus Mariota, you need to, you know, give him all the help you can. So having this, you know, tight end block instead of running routes.
But counterpoint though, like looking back this surprises me a lot because when Mariota was starting on Tennessee, who was his favorite weapon? Delaney Walker. So I really had high expectations for Pitts coming into this, knowing Mariota's history as a starter.
Considering he is literally their best player on offense.
Right.
I mean, Drake London's no slouch.
No, London's great. I think London's a really good receiver.
Yeah,
but
he was
just cut above.
Yeah, London coming into the season was my pick for rookie of the year, and I think he's, you know, this game was a bit of a drop off, but I think the Browns probably game plan to take him out, which is why the passes went to someone whose name I can't pronounce.
Yeah, well, he also had Denzel Ward on him, who's one of the best cornerbacks in football. So, you know, you have to factor that in. Rookie against Denzel Ward, it's not that surprising.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's also just amazing that the Browns managed to lose this game because you look at Chubb, once again just killing it on the ground and finished with 118 yards.
He's arguably I know he's not number one statistically in running right now, but if I had to trust any running back right now, I think right this minute that's who I'd want on my team.
Yeah, and this is what we kind of anticipated we'd see for the first 11 weeks with Deshaun Watson not playing.
Yeah.
We're going to see a lot of reliance on that ground game and a lot of reliance on the short and mid-range passing game. And Jacoby Brissett again played decent, but did throw a costly interception in the game.
Yep. I mean that was the ball game, that interception at the end.
Yeah,
so
which is funny because it was literally a carbon copy of what happened versus the Jets.
Mm-hmm.
Although I will say for despite that, in the fantasy league that we play in, I played against Paul Preston, and he started Lamar Jackson, and I started Jacoby Brissett, and Jacoby Brissett ended up outscoring Jackson en route to me defeating him.
It was a weird week for quarterbacks, honestly, like stat-wise. It was a very, very weird week. Where we got like one of them in particular who's coming up soon, I'm certain, that's just like, what the hell just happened?
Yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, this is our upset of the week. Browns, just how did this happen?
I mean, I'm never upset when the Browns lose. That's all I know. Now nobody's upset when the Browns lose.
They've got to be the most hated team in the league at this point. So yeah, like the majority of the country is very excited to see them lose.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next game, another one of the most hated teams in the league. We got two of them actually. We got the Commies versus the Cowboys.
It's America's team. How are they hated? And according to your dad, Mark Ellis, the Commanders are the most beloved team in the league.
Sure. We'll go with that. Cooper Rush supremacy continues to reign.
He's been efficient. Like
I don't know what it is about Cooper Rush that nobody can seem to beat this guy.
The thing with the Cowboys, ever since they've had Rush instead of Prescott, they've been their possession of the ball. They've had the ball most games. They're not trying anything too dangerous, and then eventually, all of a sudden, they're able to just throw it down the field, and either Lamb or Brown is wide open because they've been playing small ball the entire time, and they haven't asked Rush to do anything too crazy. And because they like this simplified game plan they've had is working very well, especially considering how good their pass rush is right now. They have one of the best pass rushes in football. They got a good offensive line. I almost, it's weird to say, but I feel like going back to Dak, I've heard that he's probably not going to come back this week, but the game plan they're using with Rush is working so well. I don't know how you step away from it.
I mean, well, I give you 46 million reasons why I'll step away from all.
I mean, yes, but
look, I believe Jason Garrett said once this is out, Jason Garrett was quoted as saying, "It's like this isn't actually a horrible move. Cooper Rush has been there. He knows the playbook, and he's been a solid game manager. And I don't think there will ever be a real quarterback controversy because it doesn't have the explosiveness and elite play that Dak Prescott does. But he has been able to get them 3 wins in a row now." And I think it's going to, I think it's going to end at 3 when the Rams get, the Rams are probably, they're going to lick their wounds and come back and end Cooper Rush's winning streak this Sunday.
Cooper Rush, first QB in Cowboys history to start 4-0.
Oh yeah, it's a wild stat.
Conversely, though, Washington, I think. Keep in mind, this is a team that traded legitimate, not only took on Carson Wentz's entire contract, but traded legitimate assets for him.
Yep.
That's not looking like a good move currently.
Yeah, I don't know what they saw in him. Carson Wentz was, I spoke before about how I, took the under on the Browns this year. Last year, I took the under on the Colts because of Carson Wentz, and it was looking dicey for a little bit, but I ended up winning that bet when Carson Wentz lost to the last place Jacksonville Jaguars for the last game of the year, where if they had won, they would have made the playoffs, and I would have lost my bet. But instead, Jacksonville blew them out.
Yeah.
So Carson Wentz is What's surprising for me with Carson Wentz is just I don't know if this is him or the coaches, but the fact that they continue to favor Curtis Samuel over Terry McLaurin. This is the yet another game where Curtis Samuel had more targets than Terry McLaurin, and was more productive with those targets.
Which is wild because like Terry McLaurin's like one of the better receivers in the league.
Yeah.
Talent-wise, Curtis Samuel. Don't get me wrong. Curtis Samuel is a very solid slot receiver, but I think that they kind of view him as like a safety net right now. They don't have Logan Thomas is not the greatest tight end. So when you got somebody who doesn't have the confidence like Carson Wentz does, he's going to look over the middle more often, and that's where Samuel's playing.
Well, but even with not even being the safety net, I mean, this is this coaching staff drafted Curtis Samuel in Carolina, and they apparently really believe in him still. So
yeah,
I mean, he's a great foil for number 2, but like you have fucking Terry McLaurin, who you're also paying a shit ton of money to now.
And you've also got this Ricky Dotson, who is showing a lot of explosiveness, and he's great in the end zone. Like I'm a little bit baffled. I agree with you, Craig, on this. Like the thing they have 3 legitimate options, and they're going to the one with the least explosiveness, which is a little weird.
Yeah. Honestly, looking at the way they're performing right now, we kind of talked about it at the beginning of the prediction special earlier in the year. Ron Rivera is he's a sneaky candidate for like hot seat coach because he is not after the first week he is not looking good.
If he doesn't make it all the way, if he makes it all the way through the season, he won't be their coach next year. I'll be very surprised if he is.
I highly doubt it. At this point, I highly doubt it. Also Dallas in the worst case scenario because they are 3-1 and now they cannot fire Mike McCarthy.
Right.
Even though they really should, because he's going to hinder this team going anywhere in the future. But that's their problem. We'll see how it works out. Up next, we got to talk about our game of the week. Lots of candidates for this one. Ultimately, though, I was the tiebreaker on this one again. Ultimately, between Green Bay and New England, and this one, I decided to go with Seahawks versus Lions.
Wild game.
Yeah, this game started off incredibly unassuming. Just these teams just like trading off below, but then the second half happens, and this game just like took ecstasy.
Yeah, and it's great, and so coming into this game, the Lions were without Amon-Ra St. Brown, the Sun God, DeAndre Swift, and DJ Shark. So arguably their 3 biggest offensive weapons. And yet they still put up 42 points.
Yeah, TJ Hawkinson became uncoverable, apparently.
I mean, maybe he should be one of their biggest targets. I mean, TJ
Hawkinson is one of the better tight ends in the league.
Yeah. TJ Hawkinson also got tackled on the 1 twice and had 179 receiving yards. Almost that would have been 3 touchdowns had he gotten 3 feet more both times, and a 2-point conversion. The guy, extraordinary. No, it would have been 4 touchdowns. I want to say it's 4 touchdowns. He would have had those two 1-yard tackles not happen.
He single-handedly defeated me in 2 different fantasy leagues.
That's the thing about this. Like again, without. They're arguably best receiver. Not arguably. I think Amon-Ra is the best receiver. The best receiver, the starting running back, still managed to put up 45 points. Yeah. They shouldn't blow the team out of the water.
Wait, 42? 45?
42. 45.
First time ever in NFL history with that score.
Oh, wow. Yeah. So they should have blown this team out of the water. Here's the problem. They have no defense.
Yeah. It's really bad that the Lions are currently leading the league in offense and are dead last in defense. They have the most points scored in the NFL and are 1-3.
Yeah, look at the stat line of things they allowed. Geno Smith threw for over 300 yards. Rashad Penny for over 150. And DK Metcalf had nearly 150 yards receiving. And Lockett had almost 100 yards receiving.
And just backtrack to what you just said. Geno Smith.
Yes, Geno
Smith. Yeah.
I mean, Geno Smith's been playing much better than we anticipated when that trade went through. Sorry, I apologize.
It did.
My cat would like to. My cat loves football as well. But But speaking of DK Metcalf, though, he had to get carted off the field.
Oh my lord!
We got too close in the clips. Yeah, he had to get carted off the field because
I feel like
he had to go to the bathroom really badly.
yeah,
Like, I wasn't gonna make it walking.
I feel like that alone makes this the game of the week.
This was like the Lamar Jackson moment of this year.
Yeah.
But he got carted off. Like, I wish I could get. I really gotta go. Bring the cart. Come on.
I mean, yeah, I feel there have been times that I needed a cart as well.
But yeah, so I think that the thing with the Lions going forward is going to be very interesting to get how they press forward because offensively looking pretty good. I mean, Jared Goff did have a pick six, which was nasty. So my question is, looking at them going forward, they have 2 first-round picks next year. And this is one of the deepest quarterback classes, one of the best quarterback classes we had.
On paper, it looks like it, yeah.
On paper, at least. Do you go double defense? Do you go a quarterback and also defense? One of these picks need to be defense for sure because they need a lot of help on that side of the ball.
Yeah. I mean, Jared Goff hasn't looked bad this year. I mean, now what this is really about isn't about Goff's play. What it's really about is, the Lions' offensive line. But even with that, he was missing his 3 biggest playmakers and still put up 45 points. Yep. I feel like if the offense continues to perform like this, it seems silly that we're talking about replacing a former number 1 overall draft pick who's leading an offense that has scored the most points in the NFL this season.
But that is the conversation, like, because he was ousted from LA because he wasn't the guy.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, there's a few other factors I think that went into that, just in terms of the rule change of how long you can communicate over the before the ball snaps or whatnot from the coaching side, whereas basically Sean McVay was kind of puppeteering him up until the snap. They wanted someone that could win the big game, which they did. But we're seeing that it's like the two sides of the same coin. We're seeing what Matthew Stafford looks like when he has a horrible offensive line with the Rams, and now we're seeing what Jared Goff can do with with a stellar offensive line. Stafford's time in Detroit was marked just by how horrible their offensive line play was. He was constantly getting injured and getting sacked because of the horrible offensive line play. And they finally got their offensive line is rated one of the top 2 in the league.
Sewell is a beast.
Yeah, Sewell's a fucking monster. I love that guy.
Yeah, and we are seeing how that pay dividends. Now, if only they would just do the same with the defense.
Yeah. If they can just develop a defense, they're dangerous going forward. As of right now, sorry, you're still the Lions.
And they still have the ace in the sleeve of Jameson Williams, who it could be this week. It could be this week he's in there. So he's off.
No, I think he's off. Is he off? I thought he was on. Wasn't
he's eligible to be off this week because it's 4 weeks, so he's eligible to come off.
He wasn't on IR. He was on the NFI list. So I think
he's on the NFI. Okay, so he's coming though, and when you have him, St. Brown, DeAndre Swift, Hawkinson, and Chark, plus Jamal, this is a loaded offense.
And Josh Reynolds put up a big game this game.
Josh Reynolds had a humongous game. Somebody needed to step up at wide receiver, and he did.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was it for our game of the week. Moving on to,
it's funny that we spent the entire game of the week talking about the loser.
Yeah. I mean, look, we'll give credit to Seattle. I mean, again,
they won the game.
Geno Smith played surprisingly great. Metcalf had a great game. So did Lockett. So did Rashad Penny. But again, this kind of falls. This says more about Detroit's defense than your offense. So don't get it twisted. Moving on to our next game, we got some AFC South football. 2 teams dueling for supremacy of the division. We got the Titans versus the Colts. And the story revolving this game was one thing in particular. The return of the king. King Henry is back in full force.
Yeah, he looked good. He looked real good in this game.
Reports of his death have been greatly exaggerated.
Yes, they had. He rumbled on the ground for almost 120 yards on the day. This is prime Derrick Henry we're looking at, and I'm happy to see him back. Football is better when he's playing.
Yeah, he started to get rolling last week, and he kept rolling this week. And the Matt Ryan, we've been singing Matt Ryan's praise a little earlier, talking about how he's better than Marcus Mariota and better than Carson Wentz, but he cost them the game. That interception caught. They could have had it, but costly interception. Turnovers. It's why defense wins championships, because turnovers. Really.
Well, that was the name of the game this week, because look at Tannehill's stat line. He didn't do great. Thing is, when Henry's playing, when he's at the top of his game, this team they are scary.
Yeah,
he is the offensive skill player out of any team right now. There's only one other player I can think of in the league that is literally just carrying his team offensively. Craig, you pretty much know who I'm talking about, and the other one, we'll get to that. But Derrick Henry is so vital to the success of this team that anytime he is off, that team they can't do anything. But when he's on, they're going to be competitive almost all the time.
Yeah. Now, what's concerning though is as when we talk about that other player, you can't have a one-dimensional offense, and people will do what they can to stop them. I mean, look, there's a reason why they're 2-2. The reason why the Browns, another team with a one-dimensional offense, are 2-2. You load up the box, stop the run. So they've got to get passing a bit more. And unfortunately, the injury to Treylon Burks got carted off. Very promising rookie, but Robert Woods is starting to come alive. It looked like he was dead at the beginning of the season, but he was someone that we missed dearly in Los Angeles. I'll say that.
Robert Woods, like his whole career, even before Los Angeles, when he was on Buffalo, was a player that he especially in Buffalo, but less so on the Rams. But he had a lot of hot and cold in Buffalo. There were some weeks that he was really on fire, and other weeks that he was non-existent. He went to the Rams, and he didn't have to be the primary focus of the passing game. And as a complementary player, emerged and became a really solid number two, one of the best number twos in football. He was technically number one up until about 2 years ago, and then obviously Kupp emerged. But what I would say about Robert Woods now, he has to step up and be a true number one now with this injury to Burks, which is going to be interesting to see, because I think he has the skill to do it, but is it up here for him to do it? I don't know that answer.
Yeah, I mean, who else is there in Tennessee to catch passes? I'm literally asking that. Let me take a look.
I can't name another one off the top of my head.
They could not name another Titans receiver right now.
Yeah, I mean, do they still have Jonnu Smith?
No, they don't.
He's on the Patriots.
Oh, yeah. No, they got
Austin Hooper.
Austin Hooper, who was targeted once this game. And, and then
we got paid an obscene amount of money a few years ago.
Somebody whose name I don't want to pronounce without looking up a pronunciation guide. His last name is spelled
Chike Okonkwo? Yeah, who's their best receiver for the day?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't understand that either. My question is regarding Indianapolis. It's because, for some reason, because you look at their offense again. Ryan had a costly pick, but either way, he didn't play bad. He didn't play that badly. He just had a costly pick at a bad time. Yeah. Taylor was shut down.
That's what I was going to say.
Completely shut down. Dude had 20 carries, couldn't even crack 50 yards.
And
42 yards on 20 carries.
Yeah, he ended up getting hurt in the game too. So I wonder if that played a part in it. And we'll see if he plays this week.
Short week. They're on Thursday, so that's definitely a question mark. That the Colts they're real. And like I said before the beginning of the season, that Frank Reich was my, would not surprise me to see him on the hot seat if things didn't go the way that they wanted to. And right now it is going quite the opposite direction. This is a team that has a really solid offensive line and has a better than average defense, and nothing is clicking. Nothing is clicking.
Well, I mean, they need Shaquille Leonard back badly.
Yeah.
And DeForest Buckner didn't play this game either, did he?
Nope.
Who?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So like their two best players on defense were out this game, and it shows. They need them back desperately.
Yeah, they're a team that's if they lose on Thursday night, which we'll get to, but if they start the season that bad, this is with that talent.
Yeah, but I mean, but like you said, not only have they had those injuries on defense and the Jonathan Taylor injury that happened in this game, we had Michael Pittman missed week 2 when they got slaughtered by the Jaguars. If Pittman had been healthy for that game, maybe they'd have a little bit of different outcome. Although the Jaguars have been looking, shockingly good now that they've escaped the shadow of Urban Meyer.
Yeah.
They look like a completely different team. You know what? Let's talk about the game versus the Eagles.
We call that a segue.
That's me too. It wasn't even next to my docket, but you know what we're talking about. Let's get into it. Let's talk about the Jacksonville Jaguars, riding high, top of the division, 2-1, but riding into face arguably the best team in football right now.
Yeah, and not only that, facing them in the outskirts of a hurricane. Yeah, so they're still feeling
the storm.
Yeah, feeling the effects of the storm. They also traveled from the outskirts of a storm. Jacksonville just went from bad to worse this week with the weather conditions. They're lucky they didn't lose by more.
Yeah, the thing is with the rain and the storm, it was going to be a hindrance to any kind of passing attack. But what I will say is I think this kind of shows this dimension of the Eagles as a team. Why? Because if passing doesn't work, they can murder you on the ground because they have several weapons that can do that. Whether it's Hurts, Gainwell, or Miles Sanders, they are dangerous on the ground just as much through the air.
Yeah, it is really incredible to see a quarterback who gets double digit rushing attempts every game. I don't know if it's every game, but this game he had quite the 16 rushes. Yep, and a rushing touchdown. No passing touchdowns, though, of course. But Miles Sanders, 27 carries for 134 yards. That is, it's hard to win. Hard to win when you're facing that.
Yeah. The defense for the Eagles clamped down, but the main thing that hindered Jacksonville, one thing, fumbles, lots and lots of fumbles. Lawrence lost 4 on the day.
And again, I'm not going to call this game a panic game for Jacksonville. All of the elements were against them, and they were going against a team that's surprising a lot of people, myself included, as one of the most legit defenses in football right now. The Eagles are. It's weird to say this. I'm going to definitely say top 3, but there's an argument for number 1. When you put the offense and the defense together, the most complete team in football, they're in the conversation. Absolutely. At worst.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, they've got to be the favorite to win the NFC right now, right?
Easily.
100%. Not a single NFC team has impressed me as much as the Eagles have this year. Which is
saying by far. They're on their own level in the NFC right now. The next best teams have glaring holes. Either of the next 2 who would be considered the next best 2, there are so many holes on both of them. The Eagles are by far the best team in the NFC right now. They're the only NFC team that's top 5 in football in my eyes right now, and they have a clear shot in their division. They don't have that difficult of a schedule. The Eagles, the arrow is pointing up in such a big way for them.
Yeah, and Hurts didn't play as well in this game as he did his prior efforts, but
didn't have to
as well. But he didn't have to play as well as he needed to win.
Mm-hmm. And that's the difference between Jalen Hurts this year versus last year. Last year, Jalen Hurts played a lot of hero ball and won some games in the fourth quarter. This year, he's learning to become a little bit more of a game clock manager. They're not being quite as erratic, and He's using his weapons. He's spreading the ball around. He's taking an extra second to throw rather than scramble that he didn't do last year. He's grown. He's grown so much.
Yes.
He's definitely taken a giant step forward, and I'd say he's probably probably should be in the conversation for MVP.
Absolutely.
Easily in the conversations. Like it's like him, Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen. These are like your big three for MVP.
Yeah, that's the big three right now.
And with this win and the Dolphins loss, the Eagles are now currently the only undefeated team in football. Congratulations to the city of Philly. Just don't tear each other apart over it.
Don't have anybody eat horse manure off the ground because of it.
Yeah.
Oh no.
But speaking of horse manure, let's talk about the Chicago Bears.
Our offense is bad. They're always in trouble. I'll be in my room doing the suicide shuffle.
Yeah, same old story, different tune, different pacing. The continued struggles of the Chicago Bears offense to do anything.
And this is against a Giants defense that, while they have, tightened up a little bit, is certainly far from elite. And they just couldn't do anything against them.
Don't let that 3-1 record fool you. This is not a good team.
No.
Exactly. Now look, the Bears, I think it starts and ends with their quarterback play. That Josh Fields was, will begrudgingly admit that he was a good quarterback in college for Ohio State, but that doesn't always translate into
most of the time doesn't translate into a successful NFL.
I was about to say that's not very common actually at the QB position
for Ohio State, at least. No.
Yeah.
And so Justin Fields, he's one of the most athletic guys maybe in the entire league. But when you've got an offensive line who's just giving him absolutely nothing, and
sacked 6 times on the day.
Oof.
And he's gonna probably give Burrow a run for his money in terms of sacks for the season this year. It's one of the two of them is going to wind up the leader overall.
It could be Carson Wentz. It could be Carson Wentz.
Could end up being Stafford if the Rams O-line keeps playing like they did.
That too. We'll get to all that later, but yeah. But I will say, Mooney finally emerged from whatever hole he's been staying in for the last couple of weeks.
But again, this is against a depleted Giants team. I don't know how. I don't have any trust in Mooney right now. I don't think I have any trust in any playmaker on the Bears right now. They have to rely on Herbert and Montgomery, and if they can't get the two of them going early in a game, they don't have a chance.
Montgomery, of course, missed this game, so.
Well, not to mention, their defense didn't show up. Saquon went for almost 150 yards on the ground, and they saw play from 3 different quarterbacks.
One of them being Saquon.
That was something. And Daniel Jones just lined up on the out. Why did they even have him on the field at that point? What was the point? You could have had a playmaker out there doing something.
Let's talk about Saquon though. Saquon is now a year, another year back from that injury that he had, and he's clearly fully healthy. He's back to the Saquon of old, and I think that
Saquon better than that team in a long time.
It looks like his rookie year.
Yeah, I think this is going to make the Giants dangerous no matter what. So he's able to make plays happen. We'll see.
They are so depleted, though. The Giants' offense is, if you look at their injury report, wow, it's bad. That you might be looking at the two teams right now that have the 2 worst wide receiver cores in football. And not only that,
especially after Sterling Shepard's injury last week,
Yeah.
Sterling Shepard's out. Galladay's out. Tony's out.
Well,
Richie James.
Galladay could be on the field. He'd still be out.
Yeah. Galladay did play this game.
Yeah, he did.
He was there.
Yeah.
Stat on this: 0 receptions, 0 yards,
1 target.
Yeah, 1 target, and about $16 million in change paid. That's just highway robbery from Kenny Galladay at that point.
Yeah, look, playing, especially playing as long as he did for the Detroit Lions. takes a toll on your body, and that's and unfortunately the New York Giants are now paying that toll.
Yeah. Bears fans, flickers to the left. Giants, don't get too comfortable. Yeah, it is the Bears.
Peggy, bust out the Malort.
Bust out the Malort. Moving on, next thing we're talking about. This was a low-key candidate for game of the week. We got the Baltimore Ravens versus the Buffalo Bills. This was a barn burner of a fucking game.
Wild weather game again, very similar to the Eagles game that the weather definitely impacted. This game probably would have been double the score had they been playing in better conditions. But both teams, had two quarterbacks just throwing everything they had at it, everything they could do.
What I will say, this exposes what I kind of talked about last week. A lot of cracks are being exposed with Buffalo as a team, in that it's their over reliance on Josh Allen that is going to be their undoing at the end.
He's at over 100 pass attempts through 4 weeks.
Yeah,
and nobody who I don't even remember who's second. They're not like 20 pass attempts less than he is. Yeah.
Their passing attack is solely run by Josh Allen. Their rushing attack is solely run by Josh Allen. If you can shut down Josh Allen, you shut down this team. Which is ironically the same problem that Baltimore has. You shut down Lamar Jackson, you shut down that team.
Two very similar ran offenses. The biggest difference between the two of them right now is that Buffalo has weapons at wide receiver, whereas Baltimore really doesn't. But Baltimore does. They did finally get J.K. Dobbins showing signs of life in this game. I had him picked as my comeback player of the year before the season began, and if he plays the way he did this year, he might prove me this past week. J.K. Dobbins made that run game look very different this week, and they needed that.
It did.
Yeah. And look, he wanted to come back week one, and the coach says, not so fast. They wanted to make sure he was good and healthy, and he looks good and healthy now. Unfortunately, him coming back healthy coincides with their top receiver leaving the game with an injury. And, Rashad Bateman did not play the entire fourth quarter, and it was confirmed afterwards just because he was injured. And had he been in there, the game end, really the deciding factor of this game was an interception that Lamar Jackson threw 4th and 2 at the goal line.
Well, yeah.
And they should have kicked the field goal, obviously.
Here's the thing. I don't disagree with the decision to go for it there. Baltimore's defense couldn't stop a child picking them apart, and field goal wouldn't have been enough. So, good decision, wrong play call.
Yeah. But again, it's like had Bateman been in the game, that's another person, it's another piece in the their best receiver. Maybe the results differently. Well, no, their best receiver is Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews. That's their best wide receiver. Mark Andrews, of course, is a touchdown.
But the thing is, without Bateman, teams are just going to blanket Mark Andrews and force them to look to Duvernay's getting his numbers look inflated. He doesn't have very many receptions. People are getting excited because of the touchdowns, but he's really not getting that many targets. He's not creating a lot of separation on most plays. He's getting one or two big plays a game, and he's probably right now in terms of stats and if you look at a fantasy perspective, he might be the most overrated receiver in football at the moment.
Yeah, but I mean, he might catch up. He might catch up to that rating if Bateman misses time, because right now that was
right.
He had only 5 targets this game and led the team in yards. So if Bateman's out, I'm sure those target numbers going to go up.
That's very true.
Yeah. By the way, the chat would like us to replay that clip because the game. Is that the tyrant Ty Lieberman?
It is not Ty.
I would like to think it is.
And Nancy, yes, we did discuss DK Metcalf getting carted to the restroom.
So I mean, I will say that the Ravens were able to really clamp down the Bills' offense. I think, again, the Miami game kind of showed a good blueprint how to handle this team, but they did adjust and come back to win the game. But yeah, like I said, Buffalo, again, team is still looking like a top 5 in football. There are cracks in the armor, and I am starting to get a little concerned. I'm not too concerned. I do think they'll still go far in the postseason, but yeah, this is. I feel like this could start to snowball into a bigger thing in the future.
Do you think the Bills will get the chance to lose yet another Super Bowl?
Honestly, yeah. Well, the thing about that is we kind of talked about it a couple weeks back. But Super Bowl this year is in Arizona,
Yeah.
which is a place where Josh Allen has never won a game.
Are you going to go to the game?
I might actually. I'll see if I can get tickets.
Yeah.
Moving on to our next game, we got this is a game that was a blowout last year, but not in the direction you'd think. The Chargers versus the Texans. Now, I will say, for the first half of this game, the Chargers were putting on the clinic you would expect when playing the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
Herbie, coming back from the rib injury, looks like his old self. Eckler, finally got woken up from the bed.
Finally woke up.
Finally
woke up. Where the hell have you been?
Yeah.
Mike Williams putting up games on the ground. At one point, this team was up by 20 points.
Yeah.
But this is what good television does, folks. Gets you eventually to slice your legs off. Houston rallies. They start to come back. Lead is down to 3, and you think, oh God, it's about to happen.
Psych!
Nope. Keep in mind, this is still the Texans.
Mm-hmm.
They can only do so much against this squad.
I will say, though, the one thing that I love about the Texans is Dameon Pierce. I have him in 3 of my fantasy leagues, and he is really looking like a beast. He was a late round draft pick for the Texans. Didn't get a lot of play in college, and
I was about to say that.
Yeah, so I think his college coaching staff is regarding not playing him more because he looks like just an absolute beast. He went 14 carries for 131 yards and a touchdown today. That's an average of 9.4 yards per carry. And we're not talking small sample size. That's double-digit carries, averaging 9.4 yards per carry. Yeah.
He went off against the Chargers, which is funny because they just invested a good haul to rebuild their defense. The run defense last year fucking sucked.
Yeah,
still not looking great this year.
Getting back to Pierce, like my wife's season ticket holder for the Florida Gators, so I saw him play throughout college, and they did not use him nearly enough. The Gators, for whatever reason, with their running backs, they always go by committee regardless. And watching him, it's like he's the most explosive guy on the field, and he got drafted, and I was like, makes sense seeing this guy drafted. He should have been higher, and lo and behold, he's getting an opportunity. But the crazy thing is that like in this game. It wasn't just Pierce. Rex Burke had actually had a really nice game, mostly in the passing game, but it was their running backs that held that offense together. Brandon Cooks is starting to look like an afterthought, which I guess kind of makes sense considering his age, and he is their number one. He's always going to draw the top coverage. But
so he did get the most targets in the game, and he put up 57 yards. But like you said, he is going to get the most coverage, which opened up the passing game for my boy Nico Collins. Go Blue! Led the team in receiving yards, but especially with 58-yard reception.
And look, this for Houston. They know it. Everyone knows it. This is a lost season for them. Any experience they can get their young guys on the field right now. Davis Mills is not going to be their starting quarterback next year. And
that's a team that needs to take a quarterback in the draft.
Yeah,
they will.
Absolutely.
They're probably going to be picking number one. I'll be very surprised if they're not picking number one.
As of right now, as it stands, they are currently the only team in the NFL to not have a single win on the season.
But they do have a tie.
Right. So that's how bad they suck. They can't even go 0-17.
Yeah.
Like normal people. But LA, this is a game that they really needed to win, and they did. So
they did exactly what they needed to do. Nothing more, nothing less. It was a good bounce back game for them, and hopefully for their sake, this is a game that can build some momentum because they have a very tough schedule. Their division may be underperforming right now, but there's still all of that talent in the West that you can't deny that. Even though some of them are not playing the way they should be, the talent's there. These games are going to be close. They needed a bounce back.
Yep, 100%.
Well, speaking of talent, let's talk about a team where there isn't very much. Let's talk about the Cardinals versus the Panthers.
Oof.
The Panthers are putting a case up for probably of the bad teams, the one that has arguably the most talent that they're just squandering.
Yeah, I mean, look, we were all rooting for you in the whole Cleveland case, but
We were.
Baker
Baker's
Mayfield,
not it.
you are
especially.
not helping yourself.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
You want to know how bad it is? The Carolina fan base is claiming for Sam Darnold to come back. That's how you know shit's fucked.
Yeah, how bad do you have to be for people to say? I mean, Mike, you're a Jets fan. How bad do you have to be for people to say, please get help, please get here soon, Sam Darnold?
Yeah,
Help me,
we
Sam
want the guy seeing ghosts out there. Come on,
But yeah, like Baker Mayfield looks fucking awful right now.
Yeah.
For a team that has Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Robbie Anderson on this offense, how are you not doing something with it? It's boggling that you can't.
I think he had like the lowest QBR collective of any starting quarterback in the league.
It's bad.
He had single digit QBR this week, 7.4.
Yeah, he's looking really rough.
And here's the thing: the Cardinals are one of the most underperforming teams in football right now, and basically walked in and walked right over them. Did not have to even do anything impressive. Just walked in and just took a win and walked out. It was basically what happened.
Yeah, keep in mind this is a squad. This is a team that the Cardinals not been able to beat in 6 years. In the last 6 meetings, they've lost every single time. They lost to Cam Newton last year. 2021 Cam Newton.
This wasn't an afternoon game too, so it wasn't even like they were playing the 10 a.m. There's the West Coast teams traveling east for a 10 a.m. start.
Usually,
like the Raiders did, they have a disadvantage. But this was an afternoon game, so it actually, they didn't have that disadvantage. So, but yes,
it's not.
I say the Cardinals had a nice bounce back after getting their butts kicked by the Rams last week. But I mean, this was a get right game if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, again, the Panthers right now they're a mess. They're an absolute mess. They're gonna, if there's 2 or 3 teams that need to hit the nuclear button, they're one of them. There needs to be some major organizational changes there.
Matt Rule needs to be thanking the gods for his albatross of a contract. It's the only reason he still has a job. The only reason.
Yeah. All right, why are we still talking about this game? We shouldn't talk about
it.
Well, we didn't. Well, I will say Marquise Brown had a good game, though, from the Cardinals side of the ball.
He's looking good, and the thing with his outlook looks really good, especially when Hopkins comes back, because he'll no longer be drawing. He did draw double coverage a couple times in this game. Hopkins coming back is only going to make him better, I think. And he's shown rapport with Murray, which nobody outside of Hopkins really has since he's entered the league. Brown's he's in a good place right now. It's a really good fit for him. Yeah. That trade, I think, proved worthwhile. That giving up that first for him.
Well, especially without Hopkins for 6 weeks.
Yeah. I think that was a very solid trade. Actually,
do you think they knew that suspension was coming when they made the trade?
Absolutely.
Yes. 100%.
There's no way they didn't.
There's no way you trade a first rounder for Hollywood Brown, who's good, but not like first rounder worthy. If you don't know that's happening.
Fair.
They knew.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to potential game of the week candidate for us. It was the Patriots versus the Packers. This is a game that we thought was going to be a complete wash, considering that not only the Patriots not look very good this year, but they were starting Mac Jones and Hurts. They had to start Brian Hoyer at QB,
who then gets hurt almost immediately.
So yes, the bulk of the game was played by new rookie Bailey Zappi, who is the first rookie quarterback to throw a pass this year. To throw a passing touchdown this year.
Yeah,
isn't that wild?
Strange.
Bailey Zappi.
Anyone
have that on their bingo card?
Did not know that name existed before the game. Yeah, I mean, it's look. The Packers are in real trouble. They pulled out the win here in overtime as time expired in overtime. With the Packers starting their third string quarterback Bailey Zappi, and it's not gonna be good when they get into the real thick part of their schedule.
So and the thing is too, there was a lot that went on in this game, a whole lot of storylines going on in this game. Obviously, the touchdown that Zappe threw, contested touchdown because of the play clock controversy. For anybody who watched that game, definitely there was I would say close to 2 seconds after the
zero, which is like what the
So there was definitely controversy. I was like, in a way, like I'm really not rooting for Green Bay much at all this season, but I was rooting for them to win by more than they did, so that there wasn't the asterisk kind of aspect to this game. But when it came down to it, Rodgers' receivers are just not there. Lazard is the only one who is showing any kind of actual rapport with him. Dobbs and Watson cannot be trusted at all. Dobbs drops. Dobbs dropped.
Dobbs had the opportunity to end the game.
Yeah,
and he had it. It was in his hands, and he lost it when he hit the ground.
And Christian Watson lost one in the lights. That also, if he had just turned his body the other direction, was a surefire touchdown.
Yeah.
I mean, let's not be too harsh on Dobbs. He did go 8 for 8 last week in targets and receptions, but this week, this week he definitely did not, live up to that same production, and he lost a turnover too, right? In addition to that, didn't he? Yeah. So it's, if it takes a lot for Rodgers to trust a rookie wide receiver. And I think that game last week bought him some goodwill, and he's going to need it if he's going to, try to keep that rapport, try to rebuild that rapport with Rodgers after this performance.
So both of these teams going forward, and they both did a good job of it this week. They both have a solid 1-2 punch at running back. That is a strength that both of these teams have. They both have 2 solid running backs. Both of them are going to need to rely on these, especially for the Patriots. If Zappe's going to be starting for the foreseeable future, you're going to see so much Stevenson. I think Stevenson is going to be on the field a lot because Harris really is not the best pass catcher whatsoever. On the other side of the ball, the Packers, Dillon and Jones are probably the 2 players that above anyone else that Rodgers trusts at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And, there was a joke at the beginning of the season that they were going to run 2 running back sets almost exclusively. They might have to.
Yeah.
I mean, Pro Football Focus rated the Packers wide receiver core is 31 out of 32 teams this year.
Makes sense.
So, yeah.
Who's last? Is it New York?
I didn't look that up. I'd be curious who it was. Probably
the Giants or possibly the Texans.
No, the Texans have Cooks, and and again, I'm a Nico homer, but right. I would say it's probably either Chicago or the Giants.
Yeah,
probably Chicago.
But yeah, so you had to go to overtime to beat a Matt Patricia run offense, which is still something that I can't believe that I'm saying, but you got the win. Good job.
I don't know who I hate more, Matt Patricia or Aaron Rodgers.
I definitely hate Matt. I'd hate Matt.
The answer is yes.
Now, this next game is something special. This is not just your regular, average Sunday afternoon game. That's right. Clown Bowl 2022. Got the Broncos versus the Raiders. The battle of 2 guys who probably shouldn't be anywhere near a head coaching position.
I think Nancy Rodriguez in the chat will be sensitive if we say too many bad things about the Raiders, but I also think that she can also agree that Josh McDaniels is, his first tenure as a head coach with the Broncos. With Denver looked awful, and
drafted Tebow.
Yeah, drafted Tebow, and then he had accepted the head coaching job with the Colts, only to change his mind.
Yep.
And now he's got the Raiders underperforming. But they did, importantly though, they did pull out the win in this game. This was must win. You can't start 0-4, in
that division.
Yeah,
especially.
I mean, in no division you can.
Not in this division, not in this conference.
Yeah.
Also.
Yeah. There's too many good teams. This was a must-win game, and yes, they came out and they pulled it off. It was probably their best-looking game. Again, not pretty at all, but that's probably of their 4 games the one that they've looked the best in. They finally seem to get a little bit more of a sense of spreading the ball around, and they also finally got Josh Jacobs going. That was the biggest reason that the Raiders were able to do anything in this game is they established a run game. He had a huge game. And against, the Broncos have a pretty decent run defense usually. And right now they did everything they needed to do. And, on the other side of the ball, the Broncos are, they're a mess.
Defensively, they couldn't stop Josh Jacobs to save their life. I will give credit to one of the Broncos, Pat Surtain II. That dude is looking like a legit corner.
Yeah, I agree.
Especially considering he had to cover Devontae Adams. I would still argue is one of, if not the best receiver in the NFL currently.
Top 3 for certain.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Kupp and Jefferson are the other two that are in that conversation, and maybe Tyreek. But
I also do want to highlight one other particular Bronco. Be Mr. Garrett Bowles. See, there was a play where let's just roll the clip.
1st and 10, Melvin Gordon. Oh, he's blocked by Hobbs, and there he goes. He's 6.
Look, you can't make it look like you weren't putting in the hustle, right? You got to die for it.
That play sums up their season right now. That sums up the Broncos' whole season right now. A fumble into a comedically bad leap from 5 yards away.
I love Garrett Bowles so much. That was just. I'm like low-key proud of myself for making that one.
Yeah, I will say, it seems like a lifetime ago that Hall of Fame game where Josh Jacobs got extended play, and everyone was like, "Are they going to trade him? Are they going to trade him?" No, Josh McDaniels is just a maniac.
Yeah. Apparently.
Josh Jacobs is clearly here to stay. How many carries he did? 28 carries this game, 144 yards.
144 yards. It's really, really solid game. Josh Jacobs he's such a Jekyll and Hyde. He has been his whole career. I feel like if the Raiders are ever able to establish themselves in a game where they can take an early lead, he can be one of the better running backs in football. The problem is game script never favors him.
No, it really does. And I also will I will say, despite the fact that I don't like Hackett's role as a play caller in the offense, I do think he's not great. Also, the decision to onside kick. Who onside kicked it after the second quarter? Was the Raiders?
That was nuts. I know they were trying for the surprise, but
you're down by 3. It's quarter 2. Why are you kicking an onside kick? Well, it was the Raiders. That's right.
Yeah. Well, now to be fair, the onside kicks are more successful when they're unexpected. Yeah. When they're expected, they're especially this season. There's been 10% of them have been successful.
But also, you're only down by 3, and they have say what you about Russell Wilson, he did step up and look like vintage Russ a little bit more in this game. You're getting if they get the ball back and it doesn't work, you're giving him prime field position to do anything. Yeah.
Now, we mentioned earlier Latavius Murray is now on this Broncos roster, and that is because unfortunately. Season-ending injury. You hate to see it. Was it tore both the ACL and the LCL? He had two ligaments torn.
As pissed
promising
off
player
as Broncos
too.
fans may be at Melvin Gordon right now. Well, they just got way less pissed because they need him going forward.
Yeah, I would say it's you hate to see a running back tear 2 ligaments, but if you do, you'd hope it's the one that had 4 fumbles. And
also
in the season.
Melvin Gordon is definitely on the tail end of his career. You have Javonte Williams, who is one of the more promising offensive players right now. Coming out of UNC last year he was one of the 2 top running back prospects in the league. Got thrown into the committee with Gordon, so never really got to get himself going. But definitely this year was showing that he was the superior of the two, was probably going to get more involved into the plays as the years went on. It's very unfortunate for the Broncos. That's a huge loss for them.
Yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
It does really kind of hamper their long-term ambitions. They're still 2-2. I think they're currently second or third in the division.
They're second in the division.
Second, yeah, okay. So season not lost they can put together, but yeah, I really think Hackett needs to. I'm really disappointed with the coaching that Hackett done so far. I'm not gonna lie.
It's been actively bad.
Yeah, he's been like horrendous.
Yeah.
And you know what? One more time, just like really.
So roll it again.
10, Melvin Gordon. Oh, he fought a block by Hobbs, and there he goes. He's 6.
Can we start every episode with that?
we might honestly.
Just put the logo over on top of that and just start every show with that.
All right, moving on to our Sunday night primetime spot. We got a rematch of Super Bowl 54, I think. No,
It was 2 years ago.
It's 56. 56?
Yeah. This year is 50. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, 56.
56. So, the Chiefs versus the Buccaneers. And this was the frustration game. This is literally the Chiefs airing out all of their grievances of what happened in the last Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it was. And by the way, you're talking about potential MVP candidates. I think this game puts Pat Mahomes back in that
He's
conversation.
right back in the conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, look, you want to know why Mahomes the conversation? I will give you one. We will give you one play right here. Roll the clip.
Never know with these guys. From the 2, Mahomes escaping. On the move, Mahomes stops, spins.
Holy shit.
That is vintage Mahomes magic right there.
Yeah, he's an off the charts player. I don't know. This is the elite does not begin to describe the things that he can do.
He's generational talent. He's
Absolutely,
the best talent of this generation. This game for the Chiefs was big for them, in so much as it was bad for the Bucs, which I'll get to in a sec. But he finally started spreading the ball around. He used Kelsey a lot early, but then once they buckled down on him, I don't remember. I want to say Mahomes had receptions to 8 or 9 different receivers in this game. Like they finally started using the rest of the team. They didn't over rely on anybody. They started running the ball better. Pacheco actually looked pretty good. Like Pacheco and Edwards-Helaire complementing each other did very, very well. They're doing this without their kicker too. They're doing this without Butker. Now this week, I believe his name was Wright, was the one they promoted from the practice squad. He did very well. He made everything that was asked of him. He did very well, much better than Amendola. But if he was in that game last week against the Colts, they'd be 4-0.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And there 8 different players received catches. 10 different players were targeted. So he really spread that ball around.
Yeah, and conversely, though, their run defense was suffocating toward the Buccaneers.
What was this 3 yards rushing?
Their leading receiver they told over 3 yards rushing. Their leading rusher had 6 yards.
6 yards, and Fournette had -3.
Yeah, they have completely abandoned the running game.
Yep.
This is the thing. I don't know if this is saying more about the Chiefs' running defense or the fact that the Tampa Bay, for some reason, abandoned the running game.
They abandoned it almost immediately. They ran the ball. Fournette had 3 rushing attempts in their first series. I don't think Fournette attempted a rush. Well, he did, but it was called back. So they didn't have an actual play ran with Fournette. That was a rushing play after the first quarter.
Fournette had more receptions than the Buccaneers had rushing attempts.
Yeah.
He had 7 receptions. The team had 6 rushing attempts.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And this is with this game, you must remember the acronym, which is funny enough because this is exactly how Kansas City lost to the Buccaneers 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Remember the acronym of PEMDAS. Passing every motherfucking down amplifies struggles.
Mm-hmm.
I know Mike Evans is great. He's one of the best receivers in football right now. But you cannot have Brady throwing 52 times a game.
I mean, that's what he that's what he came back to do.
That's what he came back to do, but you can't survive like that.
No, exactly. No, you definitely need to establish the run. You can't have a single, one-dimensional game. And it's interesting because I feel like the Buccaneers defense had played better earlier in this year. Like you look at Week 1 against the Cowboys, they had completely suffocated Dak Prescott before he got injured and left the game. But
I'm coming.
Mike Deacon's, Mike Deacon has
clear.
left the building. Anyway, sorry, it distracted me. But the defense completely fell apart in this game. But I mean, when you face Mahomes in this offense that was, so good, not just through that passing, but he had two different. They spread the ball around even in the rushing game. Isaiah Pacheco.
It was a really great It was a really good compliment, really great addition to the offense. With Hill gone, and Alaire, a guy who was under the microscope, we didn't really know if he was the guy going forward. I think as a 1-2 punch kind of thing, might be a good strategy going forward.
Yep, completely agree.
But yeah, this was this might be the best Chiefs game I've seen all year.
Their most complete game.
It was definitely better than the 2 games they lost.
That is true.
Fair enough.
Yeah. I mean, the one game they lost.
Well, yeah, they're 3-1.
Oh, they're 3-1. Dang it!
They lost the Colts.
They had one game that they looked like they should have lost. My bad.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Yeah, that was against the Chargers. The Chargers should have beaten them.
Last game we're talking about, we're going all the way to Monday night. We got the Rams, Craig, your boys, versus the 49ers. A game that I did pick LA to win. I
did too. I did too.
Yeah. This game, look, this game was tough to watch, partially because, as I said before, the Rams' offensive line. Look, they've suffered. This isn't the same offensive line we had last year. Whitworth retired. We lost some players in the offseason via I don't know if it was trade and free agency or both just free agency, but then they keep getting banged up and injured throughout the keep losing to injuries, and that really showed up in this game. Stafford was sacked. I don't have the number of times here, but it was a lot. And even they kept bringing running backs back to try to help improve the blocking, and he got sacked on a play. He got sacked on a play when Cam Akers was right there trying helping block. But
I want to pull some numbers for this offensive line. I don't have their hurries or the QB pressures on, but I do have. Let's see, Stafford sacked 7 times on the day.
Oh my god! Yeah, and you can tell.
Yeah, for some reason they just could not block a single thing.
I mean, credit to San Fran's defense for getting to him, but this they need to find an answer in the offensive line, and then. In addition to that, if you look at the offense, you said before, Cooper Kupp's really carrying the team.
Outright.
He is literally their entire passing game.
Allen Robinson was their big free agency acquisition, and right now it's looking like a giant waste of money.
They're not letting him do anything.
Well, I mean, they're not targeting him a lot, but they're not targeting him a lot because he's having trouble getting open. And that's
playing cases where he is open and does have a good amount of separation, because Allen Robinson's really good at creating that. He's just not getting the ball.
Yeah. Well, the times they did throw him to this game, a couple times there was
one that was broken up.
Well,
that was a 50-50 ball. He just didn't get it.
Yeah, but then the 2 times did he catch at least 2? Did he only have 2 catches? I know when he caught the ball twice. Yeah, he had 2 catches. Both times he immediately fell to the ground.
Yeah.
It's like
the one I saw that he caught, because I missed the first catch. The one I saw that he caught, that was just it wasn't a badly thrown ball. It was just an awkwardly thrown ball. So he had to go down to get it anyway.
Yeah, but it's if you can't stay on your feet once you get the ball, it's you're not going to be very productive.
Yeah, I was really pulling for Allen Robinson. I'm still pulling for Allen Robinson. I hope that he can put it together. But yeah, this is not a great start for him, especially considering the amount of money you paid this guy.
Yeah, and look, he had 6 targets, and our tight end Tyler Higbee had 14 targets.
Yeah,
that's more than twice as many targets as Allen Robinson to
Yeah,
Tyler
like,
Higbee.
My thing is with the Rams offense, they're so fixated on Cooper Kupp that they're on the verge of becoming, well, not on the verge, kind of are becoming one dimensional. You lock that dude up, this team's kind of fucked.
Yeah, and you know the game looks a little lopsided. The final score 24-9, but in the fourth quarter they had the ball down, only one touchdown, driving the field. But as you said, the just relying too much on Cooper Kupp bit them in the ass because there was a ball thrown to Cooper Kupp. The defender, I was calling Troy Polamalu.
Hufunga.
I was calling Troy Polamalu. New
Troy Polamalu.
Yeah, new Troy Polamalu. Knew the ball was coming, jumped the route and ran it back 50 yards for a touchdown. That sealed the game right there.
Yeah, I mean, offensively, they didn't do anything special. I mean, granted. I mean, look, I will pull up the best play that one of your defenders made. It's right here when a streaker and then cuts back. Bobby
Wagner.
This.
Bobby Wagner.
Thank you, Bobby.
That's the best play your defense made all day.
And it's watching that. Look, I clearly am biased while watching the game, and I thought that I didn't think the San Fran looked very, very good on offense, really, honestly. And the
outside of Debo and
Debo's it. Yep.
Yeah.
Wilson did good. Yeah.
Their two touchdowns came off of just plays that broke open.
They were both explosive plays.
Yeah, and it was the touchdown to I think it was the Debo touchdown. Like there were several players who, like, if were within inches of ruining the play.
Yeah.
So it's everything had to break just right for that to go. I still think that the 49ers are going to be in trouble in the long term with Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback.
100%. That's not debatable. They are like their long term is like not looking good. But for some reason they are good enough to beat you. They're good enough to beat the Rams somehow.
Not when it mattered most last year.
Not when it mattered most. Regular season, a different story, but not when it mattered most.
Hey, you know what? As long as we beat them in the playoffs, that's all that matters.
That's true. But I mean, that was the Rams. Also, one of the only two teams this weekend to not score a single touchdown on offense, or just period.
That third field goal they kicked, they should have gone for it on fourth down. They should have went for it. They were, right there. I think the 4 or the 5, I forget. But they were like within. They were definitely within the green zone, within the 10 yards. I think they were probably within the 5. But they, instead of going for it, they kicked their third field goal, and it just, if you get 3 field goals, it's not going to win the game.
Right.
Yeah. But that's going to do it for our recap of Week 4. We now move on to looking to the future, our Week 5 predictions. First up on the docket, we have Thursday Night Football. Got the Colts versus the Broncos.
Cure for insomnia on this one.
Oh yeah. Let's see what JT listed as this week. I think he's questionable. Yeah,
he's questionable. Yeah,
he's not been ruled out. Shaquille Leonard's still not playing though. Doesn't bode well for the defense on that.
It's going to be a low-scoring game. I don't see this being very high-scoring at all. Simply on the home field advantage, I'm going Denver.
I'm also leaning Denver.
I'm also going to go Denver. I think Cortland Sutton's going to get 2 touchdowns this game.
I think that's a fair prediction. I like that.
All right. Well, Giants fans had a pretty good time. I feel like that's not gonna last very much longer because next week you play the Packers.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to take the Giants on this one? Anybody?
No. Bet the under, bet the Packers.
God, you know what? I'm tempted, but it's in Green Bay.
No, it's in England.
Oh, it's in England. Oh, that's right. It's in England. You know what? Because it's in London. Crazy stuff happens in London, and Saquon Barkley is a beast. I am going to take the Giants in this game.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
It's a bold prediction, but I like it.
All right, next one. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, we got a new full-time starter, and we are going to test him immediately as we send Kenny Pickett to take on the Bills.
This is the largest they are 14-point underdogs. It is the largest the Steelers have been an underdog since the 70s, I believe it was the statistic I saw today. It's there's not a chance in hell the Bills lose this game. It's in Buffalo. It's against a rookie quarterback. The Bills are going to feast in this game. Sorry, Chance, but
I would take the Bills to cover that 14 points.
Yeah.
Let me explain something to you about Steeler football. Steeler logic works like this. We lose the games you think we're going to win, and we win the games you think we're going to lose.
Well, you accomplished part 1 this week.
So we're going to have a bounce back. Look, our October slate is brutal. We got the Bills, the Bucks, the Eagles, the Dolphins.
Yeah, that's rough. That's
on paper,
really
it looks like we're going to go 1-7.
Welcome to the NFL, Kenny Pickett.
But the Steelers, better than anything, know how to look a dire situation in the face.
They'll equal one of them out.
Some way come on top. I'm saying right now,
it's not this one.
To win at least 2 of those games.
It's not this one.
It's gonna
not
happen.
In Buffalo.
You know what? It's gonna happen in Buffalo. I don't care if our defense is. I don't care if our defense is battered. I don't care if it might be without Minkah Fitzpatrick and Cam Hayward and Cam Sutton. And Kello's that too. Fuck. Okay. Point. We may be without the bulk of our starting defense, and we may be starting a rookie. But you know what? Steeler football reigns supreme. Steelers by 4 touchdowns.
I'm so excited for Stephon Diggs in my fantasy league this week.
Yeah, me too. I have him in the What's the Show league. So
what yes. We got? Chargers versus Browns.
This is going to be closer than being Chargers going across the country for a 1:00 start. Never a good sign. I still slightly think in a close game that the Chargers pull it out, but it's going to be an ugly game overall. Not a ton of scoring. Again, I say take the under in this game. Chargers eke it out, but it's going to be a bad game.
Well, the big problem about the Chargers going forward is that Joey Bosa's injury is now more serious than we thought. He's now out for the next 6 to 10 weeks.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I would actually say take the over, and I'm going to take the Chargers to win this. I think Nick Chubb's going to score some touchdowns, and that's why I'm saying take the over. We saw what Dameon Pierce just did to that Chargers run defense.
That's true.
I think Nick Chubb is, I'd say, I think we could all agree Nick Chubb is a better running back than Dameon Pierce. So, 100%. But I still like the Chargers to win this. They're getting Keenan Allen back, and
Keenan Allen's a big difference maker. Herbert's, he's obvious that after the past couple of weeks, he's his favorite target. Mike Williams, Herbert likes when he's not getting the main coverage.
Yeah.
When Williams is getting the main coverage, Mike Williams has proven in the past couple of weeks that I don't think he's ever going to be an elite number 1 wide receiver on any team, but he's a fantastic number 2. Now that he's going back to being a number 2, his number is going to escalate.
Allen's back and Eckler's on a roll.
I have LA's redheaded stepchild taking this as well. Bounce over some NFC North football. We got the Bears versus the Vikings.
Just the Vikings, and let's move on.
Yeah, I feel like
Vikings.
Chicago's about to get violated in this one. I'm assuming you're the same.
Yeah, Vikings, yes, 100%.
All right,
easy.
Easy. Next team, we have a team traveling in the Foxborough to face off against their former oppressor, the Lions, taking on the New England Patriots.
This is an interesting game, actually. I'm gonna take the Lions in this one. I just don't know that the Patriots have the firepower to keep up with them. They have a decent defense, but the Lions have proven that if you're going to beat them, you have to punch back and forth with them. The Patriots have not shown in any game this year that they're able to put points on the board.
Yeah, I don't expect Bailey Zappi to shred this Lions defense like Geno Smith did. But Geno Smith did just shred this Lions defense, huh?
That's a sentence you just said.
I know, but Bill Belichick's specialty is to find your biggest strength and to eliminate it. The Lions' biggest strength is their offensive line. You can't eliminate the offensive line,
That's
so
true.
they don't have, their three biggest playmakers were out. And they still put up 45 points this week. I don't think that Bill Belichick's going to be able to stop the resurgent Jared Goff.
I agree. And they're going to have to rely on their run game a lot. Obviously, Harrison and Stevenson are going to be the main opportunity for the Patriots. If they don't get a lead early, they're in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm also leaning Detroit on this one. This game actually could be like low key very fascinating. It's got the Seahawks versus the Saints. Now I know the
football at its finest.
That is true. I know the Saints' defense is a little better than Detroit's. I will admit, but
I will
there could
also
be some points in
concede
this.
that.
There could be some points in this game. I think this could be a sneaky, high-scoring game.
yeah, I also think Jameis Winston is set to come back. Which I mean, look, say what you will about him. He's better than Andy Dalton. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
I think Michael Thomas and Kamara are also slated to make their return this week.
I mean, Kamara was slated to play last week too, and we all
and
fantasy managers across the country were
woke up to a 0.
Yeah, that fucked me over this week.
Oh yeah, yeah. Fortunately, I had randomly woke up, saw the notification on my phone, and was able to swap them out. Still lost all those games though.
Yeah, I did lose this week. Because Kamara, among other reasons. Point is, if they're back, I think I would have New Orleans taking this one.
Yeah, and it's an East Coast early game for that reason as well. I mean, I guess it's the second week in a row. Technically, the Seahawks have done this, but going further across the country, it's going to be closer. I think it's not going to be quite as high scoring as their game against the Lions, but I do think there's going to be some points put up in this game. But I'm going to lean the Saints.
Yeah, it's I think Jameis will be back. I think I think he is a significant upgrade over Andy Dalton. He's played a lot better with the Saints since being able to learn under Drew Brees for a short while. So I do think that especially with Olave's healthy, whether or not Thomas or anyone else comes back. So I'm definitely taking the Saints here.
Yep.
All right, moving on. We got the Dolphins versus the Jets. Tyreek Hill taking on the team that he nearly went to until he realized, oh shit, I'm going to the Jets. No.
He also claimed today. I don't know if you saw this. He also claimed he realized the state taxes.
Better claim in no income tax. You wonder why he chose Miami?
And that's why Ndamukong Suh went there.
Yep. So the Dolphins are the better team, even with Teddy Bridgewater. It's hard to pick against them. This is a game though that could be closer than it would have been 2 weeks ago. They still have the better team overall. They still should win this game, but it's not going to be as big of a blowout as it would have been if Tua was on the field.
I'm going to say the football gods are going to punish the Dolphins for the mishandling of Tua's.
I would love it. I'm
going to pick the Jets. Let's get some Wilson to Wilson connection. I know he's more of a Corey Davis fan, but come on, who doesn't want Wilson to Wilson? Let's do it.
It's inevitable too with that kid's talent. If they don't start, funneling him the ball, it's baffling if they don't.
It'll be criminal. Yeah, no. I think the Jets are on the rise, and I think I like Teddy ball game, but Jets take this one for me.
Yeah, my biggest issue with this one is the fact that it's not Tua, it is Teddy Bridge, who it's Teddy check down, Teddy short of the sticks. So I mean, I think that the biggest strength of the Dolphins is their ability to throw the ball vertically down the field. I'm not sure we're going to see as much of that action with Teddy Bridge and the quarterback. I'm still taking the Dolphins, but I don't feel as good about it as I would have a few weeks back.
And this is a game at this point, very much like the Saints and the Seahawks, that if it does go in the Jets way, sure, it's an upset, but are you going to be that shocked by it? I don't think so anymore.
All right, moving on. Up next, we got the Falcons versus the Buccaneers, two teams that remarkably have the same record.
Bucs run away with this one.
Yeah, I would say.
Given what Tom Brady's going through right now, I think he's got a lot of frustration to take out on somebody. And Atlanta, you're a good candidate.
This is the defense to just run wild over. I could see all four of Tampa's big offensive weapons being Evans. Well, Godwin is Godwin going to play this week? I'm not.
He played last week.
Yeah,
I think
he got hurt. He got hurt again.
That's right.
Oh.
He got hurt again. So Evans gets at least one. Fournette gets at least one. I see Cameron Brate getting one. And if Godwin plays, Godwin gets one. They're going to spread it around. All four major playmakers score a touchdown in this game, and the Buccaneers blow them away.
I also Tampa in this game.
Yeah, I don't see an injury designation on him in my fantasy league, but I think they don't have injury reports yet. But that's it. It says here that he escaped the game with his health intact. So, either way, the Buccaneers, with or without Chris Godwin, the Buccaneers are going to exercise demons. Look, the Falcons are a scrappy team, but Tom, this is a get-right game for Tom Brady.
And this defense, I know, yes, Kansas City exploited them this week. The Falcons are not going to do that.
No.
All right, up next we got the Tennessee Titans going into FedEx to take on the Commies.
Can it be blacked out in my area? I have no interest in this game. Titans run away with it.
I'm interested to just see how many yards Derrick Henry puts up.
Yeah, it's a big Derrick Henry game. Get him into, if you're playing DFS or anything, get him in your lineup.
I mean, I feel like might not be a great DFS play only because everyone's going to have him.
Everyone's going to do it. Okay, I'll give you that. He's going to run wild. He's going to get 150 yards in this game.
I will say one thing though that this game may have for us a great storyline is that Brian Robinson may be coming back this week. So
it's so interesting to see how he's going to. He was such a big buzz name in the preseason, and then obviously got shot. And, yeah. How do you even recover from that? I agree with you. There was talks in the preseason, right up until the season was about to start, that he was going to be maybe even going bigger percentage of shares than Antonio Gibson. Gibson's played okay, well enough to justify at least a split. But Robinson's an interesting story. I agree with you on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm also taking this one.
Yeah, but I'll still take the Titans.
Big time.
But let's see if Brian Robinson. Come on, Brian Robinson.
Yeah, let's see him play. I agree. I'd love to see the kid play. I'm rooting for the kid. I hope he does well.
Yep.
Up next, we got the 49ers taking on the Panthers. This is another one that just feels like it's
blowout. The 49ers defense gets 2 defensive touchdowns.
Yeah, I would quite possibly. Yeah, given the way that the Panthers might have the worst collective offense in football right now.
Yeah, and I see the 49ers probably going heavy on the run in this game between Wilson and Debo. Garoppolo's not going to have to do much at all to win this game. Just game manage and just keep the offense on the field. Just run down the field. 4 or 5 yards of play. This is an easy win for the 49ers.
Yeah, I say like I said before, there is troubling times ahead for the 49ers. It's further ahead than this.
Yeah.
Up next, we got the Cowboys taking on your boys, Babs, in the Rams. And keep in mind, you're facing the undefeated Cooper Rush.
Hey, you know what? I'll start here. This, we talked about get right games after, even though they're going to be on short rest. I have to believe this is going to be a get right game for the Rams. They can't drop to 2-3, especially with how competitive this division is, especially now that they lost one to the 49ers. So I'm gonna believe that the better Cooper will win this game.
This is one of the tougher games.
Cooper Cup's the better Cooper.
Yeah, we got it.
This is one of the closer games of the week for me. I think there's a strong possibility we could be talking about this next week as game of the week which is the tightest games of the week. It's close to a coin flip. Again, I'm going to go with the home field advantage. I'm going to go with the Rams, the home field advantage, plus the chip on the shoulder that they have. There's a little bit of desperation there. They have to prove something this week. Dallas is going to do enough to not make this a high-scoring game. They're not going to let them get the explosive plays. Cooper Kupp is going to play a big part in this. If LA can finally establish a run game, though, they win this game.
And also establish some variance in the offense. Keep in mind, you're not dealing with like an elite secondary. Like Allen Robinson should be able to get open.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
One thing I will say. Wait. Who are you picking, Chance?
Oh, sorry. I'm picking the Rams.
Okay. Yeah, so one thing that I will say is the Rams do a good job. The Rams fans do a good job at making disruptive crowd noise for the opposing quarterbacks when they show up. But I think that this is going to be a game where Cowboys fans travel really well. I think the Rams are going to have to go into the quiet snap count, probably get silent snap count again. So I think that might factor into it. But I'm still taking the Rams.
We did, Chance. I believe you missed a 1:00 game.
Did I?
Jaguars and Texans, which Jaguars all around.
Jaguars versus Texans.
Jaguars all around. Yeah.
Is it in Houston?
Hold on, I have that
Matter.
It is in Jacksonville.
Oh, then there's absolutely no chance I'm taking it.
Jacksonville.
I'm going to take Jacksonville to win every week in Jacksonville this year. It's no matter the opponent.
All right. Wow. Okay. Up next, we got.
Have a look at the schedule.
This is a Battle of the Birds. Got the Eagles versus the Cardinals. I'm definitely taking the Eagles on this one.
Eagles easily, and this is a Kyler Murray implosion game written all over it. This could be
is it double XP weekend?
Ooh.
Let me check when the Call of Duty double XP weekend is.
Wait, what is double XP?
So there's the thing where whenever a new Call of Duty comes out, they always have an event for double XP weekend, which is basically like when you play online, you earn double the amount of experience points that you normally would. Somebody managed to track this, that Kyler Murray's performance always dips during double XP weekend.
Yeah, he's going to implode in this game.
Oh no.
The Eagles can come in with the exact same game plan they came in with Jacksonville. And the other thing to keep in mind, the Cardinals are absolutely terrible at covering tight ends. Dallas Goedert going to run wild. Dallas Goedert's going to run wild this week. Eagles win this easily.
Yeah, I think Arizona's defense is basically hot garbage, so I don't think they have what it takes to stop Philadelphia.
And I will say it is difficult to project a team to go 17-0 to win the season. But if you look at the Eagles' schedule,
their schedule's
they have a schedule that's set up for them to potentially go 17-0.
Literally, like one of the Cowboys games is their trap game. That's like it.
Yeah. Yeah. So
for the record, I checked. It is not double XP weekend, but this could be. It's the fair will be a Kyler game.
Yeah, Kyler will play like it is. Taking the Eagles as well.
Will Kyler do his homework? That's the question.
Ooh. Well, they took that clause out of his contract. So
it is. So it doesn't have to.
Yeah. And you got Kyler and Jalen, who up to last year looked like very similar style play quarterbacks. One of them has amplified their game substantially. The other one has not proven it yet. Jalen's going to
Kyler Murray.
Yeah,
the one is getting paid substantially more than the other.
Yeah, one's going to be due for a nice little pay increase in 2 years, and the other one is overpaid.
If he keeps it up, then yes, he will.
Yeah.
Up next Sunday night, we got some good old AFC North ball.
I like this game. I'm excited to watch this one.
Bengals versus the Ravens. Bengals looking to bounce back. Ravens looking to try and assert their dominance. These two teams are going to be vying for the crown of the King of the North. Then keep this is AFC North ball, so this game is going to be
lively. Yeah, it's going to be. There's going to be turnovers. There's going to be 60-yard field goals. There's going to be probably somebody breaking a run from the one for a touchdown. You just throw all common sense out of the window at this one.
Again, I'm a Steelers fan. I've been watching AFC North ball my entire life. You never know what you're going to get with these games, but you can always bet that it's going to be a nasty, nasty game of football.
It's going to be
breaks out in the middle.
It's going to be a fun game to watch. I don't think this game is going to be boring. I think there's going to be a lot of fireworks in this game.
They're boring. It's always interesting to watch these games play out.
Stop stalling and make a pick.
I'm taking the Ravens.
I'm also taking.
I'll take the Bengals.
Oh, all right.
There we go.
All right,
like
last
the
game on the
choice.
week, Monday Night Football. We got the Raiders versus the Chiefs. And sorry, Nancy, I got Chiefs by 3 touchdowns.
Nancy
Games
already
in
said,
Kansas City.
Nancy already said in the chat that she that she will not begrudge anyone for taking the Chiefs. She also expects them to win. But you know what? I will be the contrarian because I'm the guest, and I will take the Raiders to pull off the upset. I think I'm not sure how or why, but look, it's not like the Raiders don't have. It's not like the Raiders don't have some good offensive pieces there.
I guess we got offensive pieces, but do they have the defense to stop the pass?
Oh no, they don't. 100% they don't. But it's not so it's just a matter of can they keep up? I think it's going to be a shootout. Take the over, and I'm going to take the.
That's literally what I was just about to check what the over is right now. It is currently at 51, and yes, I'll take the over. Give me the over on this. And yes, high scoring on both sides. I see very similar score to what happened on Sunday night. I got the Chiefs winning by a score, but 60 points easy in this game.
I was joking when I said 3 touchdowns. Probably like 1 or 2, but it's not going to be close.
Sure.
All right. So that's going to do it for the show today. Babs, thanks for joining us. Where can people find you?
Thank you for having me. You can find me on Twitter at Barbarian Craig. And then you can find me on Instagram at CF Gaynier. C is in Craig, F is in Frank, Gaynier is in the French word to win, because all I do is win, except we don't have a
Unless you play me.
Except we don't have a Schmo anymore. I don't know, man. I'm 4-0 in our league. I'm the only undefeated team.
Are you really?
Yeah, by hook or by crook. Even though my starting quarterback so far this season, week 1 was Trey Lance, week 2 was Trey Lance, week 3 was Justin Fields, and week 4 was Jacoby Brissett, and somehow I am 4-0.
Wow. Okay.
It's because I was the last person in the league to take a quarterback. Anyway,
Mike, where can people find you?
I never actually pimp out my own Twitter. I'm at MDK82. I very rarely ever say that. But yeah, MDK82. You can find me on What the Show podcast every Wednesday night. You can find me here every Tuesday night. This week we are doing something because we got a little confused, maybe, and we're doing a Season 10 Schmodown Fantasy League draft.
Well, yeah, I better go first overall. I'm just saying that right now. And if I'm on Twitter, it's going to be ChanceWars_91. Check out my podcast, It's Stories by Chance. We are currently starting our Scare Fest, which is our annual October event. The theme of this year is the Monster Mash, and we're starting off by looking at a vampire movie. So we don't know which one yet, but we're going to get into that. And here on the channel, you find me every Tuesday hosting Left Side Strong Side with this guy over here. And this week, the scary times continue on the PJ Campbell Show. As this week, we are going to be doing the Horror Hunger Games.
Ooh.
And that is going to be a very fun show happening later this
fun.
week. That's going to do it for us here. Thank you for watching, and we will see you next week.